Bienvenidos and welcome back to Puro Pinche Gol, a place where we discuss all things USMNT y la selección mexicana. My name is Adrian. I'm joined once again by my co-host and Tocayo, Adrian. Adrian, what's going on, man? How are you?
Hey, dude, I'm doing Sunday evening, getting ready for the week, and just chilling like a villain, dude.
Getting ready for this all-state Continental Clásico that we're all so
Hell
eager to
yeah.
watch.
Mm-hmm.
Cool, man. Good to be here with you again, man. This episode, we're going to be giving our preview for the April 19th friendly, aka the All-State Continental Clásico, that will be played in Arizona. El Juego Molero, as we've called it, the cash grab of all cash
Hell
grabs.
yeah.
We're going to be discussing our probable lineups, the things to look for, players to look for, and kind of giving our score predictions there at the end. So, Adrian, let's get right into it, man. Before we kind of
Let's do it.
discuss and dissect the teams, let's give some background on this match. This is the first annual All-State Continental Clásico. It's going to be an annual contest between the USMNT and rivals from either North, Central, or South America. This first year is obviously against Mexico. First edition is going to be held in Phoenix, Arizona. And what can we expect of the game? Probably an 80% pro-Mexican crowd and atmosphere. And, as you covered last time, so this is a non-FIFA official friendly, so clubs aren't really necessary or needed or obligated to release their players. So
Yeah.
it's mainly going to be a MLS and ligamx friendly, with each
Yeah.
team
So,
having, coincidentally, a Barcelona fullback.
yeah, that's very interesting. There's one thing that I want to say, though, is so I've been going online reading a lot of people saying that this is not like an MLS against Liga MX game. Because if that was the case, there should have been like an all-star for both leagues. But this is, to be clear, the best US MLS based players and Mexican Liga MX based players, right?
Yeah, it's not an all-star match
Mhm.
because you don't have,
Exactly.
like the foreigners that play in the leagues playing,
Hmm.
obviously. This is just the Mexican ones
Exactly.
versus the American players. Yeah, good point there. Um, let's dive right into Anthony Hudson's boys, the USMNT. Quick update since our last video. Last video, we kind of discussed the roster, gave our impressions on the roster that he released for this match. Two players have since withdrawn from the camp, Paul Arriola and Christian Roldan. Arriola withdrew due to experience a tightness in his right hamstring, while Roldan began concussion return to play protocol at the end of last week. So it's too soon for him to return. So in their place comes Paxton Pomykal from FC Dallas, a midfielder. So that's kind of interesting because I know you and I had kind of discussed that the USMNT kind of
Hmm.
their midfield was lacking real going forward presence. So Paxton kind of brings that back to them. So we'll get into that. Um, so I'm not really going to dive right into the roster. We made that a previous episode that kind of discussed it. So that was just kind of the quick edit. Um, regarding this roster, I see him playing a 4-3-3, four defenders, three midfielders, three forwards. And the possible starting lineup, let me give you my predictions and I'll let you kind of jump in and kind of give me your thoughts here. I think
Hmm.
Roman Celentano is going to be the starting goalkeeper. He's been great this season, deserved. He's tied for the most clean sheets in the league, so he'll probably be starting goalkeeper. I have at left back Caleb Wiley, center back the two World Cup veterans Aaron Long and Walker Zimmerman, and right back starting at least Serginho Dest, to kind of give that presence of experience and someone that's kind of been there and done it. In the midfield, I have left midfield Paxton Pomykal, the guy that replaced Christian Roldan and Paul Arriola.
Hmm.
Center midfield, kind of the engine of the team. I kind of have Aiden Morris, and right mid. This is going to be a weird one. I had out in left field. I haven't gave up on these Sonora bros, bro. Alan
Dude, come
Sonora.
on. This
The only reason I have him playing is because he gave him minutes in Camp Cupcake in January, so I'm thinking he'll probably give him some minutes here. Um, the forwards, I think he has decent selection of forwards to choose from. Left forward, he has El Caballo Cal, Kate Cal. Center forward, I think just because of the recent form and how Jesus Ferreira has been scoring the last 2 or 3 matches, he'll probably start him as the lone center forward. And right forward will be Jordan Morris, who's been doing amazing in the league. What do you think of that? This 4-3-3 is kind of based off of the what Anthony Hudson chose for the Serbia and Colombia matches back in January. He seems to really like that formation, especially with these MLS players. So yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
No, I agree with pretty much every single player you have chosen here. Um, I think it's a no-brainer that Celentano plays, even though he got trashed yesterday, 5-0. Yeah, I hope that
Jeez.
doesn't change Tonyo Hudson's mind. But uh, out of every single player that he has eligible to play for the goalie position, he's definitely the one with the best form right now.
Yeah.
Uh, Caleb Wiley, no brainer. I think it's a good call to put the two World Cup veterans, Walker Zimmerman and Aaron Long. And I just think he's doing Serginho Dest a solid, right? Hey, I'm gonna give you some play time. You might not be the best form right now, but
Right.
you're definitely better than the MLS option. So why not? There's only one thing that I probably will say, maybe uh, that I think he will play differently rather than your midfield line. I think definitely he's going to put Paxton Pomykal, Aiden Morris, but I think he's going to use Kellen Acosta rather than Alan
Mm,
Sonora. And I see Kellen Acosta being like, that contención, that CDM, the number five, and then having Aiden Morris and Paxton Pomykal playing not necessarily, center attacking midfielder, but CM, and then helping going up and down depending on the offensive or defensive drive. And then I think that he will definitely play Jordan Morris. I have the feeling that he might be starting Brandon Vasquez, and I'm not saying this because I'm a Brandon Vasquez fan, but I think he offers better aerial support for Jordan Morris, and I think he also will start with El Caballo Cabo on the other flank. So that's the only reason why I feel Brandon Vasquez will start over Jesus Ferreira, just because of his strength, his body, and the way that he's able to stand up
hold up
and
play.
hold the play and cater to the needs of space for Donald Morris and El
Yeah.
Caballo Cabo.
Yeah. No. You kind of my two doubts. In my prediction were those two that you called out. Alan Sonora and Kellen Acosta. Between those guys, I was like coin flip. So yeah,
Hmm.
I could see that going either way. And the only reason I had Jesus Ferreira going, starting was just because he's kind of been have like 2-3 goals in the past two
Yeah.
or three games, and
Hmm.
Vasquez has kind of calmed down a little bit. But other than that, yeah, I'm glad we agree on that. Let's see if Tonyo Hudson agrees there.
Let's see it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. So a couple things to look for, players to watch here. Number one, I have El Caballo Cal, Kate Cal. He was one of the standouts back in January, one of our favorite players back in January, and
Yeah.
in the January Camp Cupcake. And he's a player that could also potentially play for Mexico still. He's dangerous in the flank. He's good at holding the ball and distributing. And I feel like a majority of the play is going to come through his side of the field. So definitely one to watch. Jordan Morris, another one. Currently the MLS's top scorer with 8 goals. He's been scoring a lot recently, and he's
Yeah.
hot. So might as well keep that streak going. And again, he's one of the, I believe there was 8 or 10 World Cup veterans on this squad. He wasn't one of the World Cup starters, but he got some minutes of the World Cup, so he'll be able to bring that experience to the fold here.
Just like Celentano, Jordan Morris had a really bad game last night, man.
Yeah,
They play Seattle Thunder play against the Timber, and they lost 4-1. He didn't play well. He wasn't good.
yeah, it might be just he's got his mind on this game already. At least that's what I hope it's the case. They're like
Let's,
already
yeah.
like in Phoenix mentally. Um,
I
because
wouldn't
yeah,
blame
a lot of these guys played bad this Saturday.
him. Hmm.
Another thing to look for, the center back pairing of Zimmerman and Long, two, again, World Cup veterans. Zimmerman more so, played more minutes, obviously. I don't think Long played a minute. But they'll be tested a lot. I feel Mexico's midfield, and especially their forward Henry Martin is going to be eager to attack, and the midfield that Mexico has, I feel, has more is more dynamic than the US's, so they'll be I feel like they'll have more possession of the ball. So between these two guys, they'll be having to do a lot of cleanup duty, a lot of making sure there's clearances, making sure they're tracking back. So having those two experienced guys at least starting will be interesting to see, and probably their
Yeah,
best option.
totally agree.
Um,
Because I mean, Zimmerman has played against Mexico for plenty of
yeah,
times, so he must know he definitely has experience and the mental dexterity to deal with this kind of games. With keeping I guess keeping in the back of his mind that he's technically playing as a home team, but has a away crowd, right?
yeah. He's probably the one of the few nations on earth that has that situation, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Um, So, and another one we kind of talked about already, Celentano, just his debut, has been the best keeper in the MLS all season, tied for first in clean sheets 5 out of 8 games, and just one to look out for his debut, especially against their rivals Mexico in this Continental
Mm-hmm.
Clasico. Um, had a crappy game this past game, but again, let's just hope that was kind of he got it all out of his system there. Um, Before we move on to kind of giving our score predictions at the end, man, why don't we go through Mexico, what we think their starting lineup will be, and just things to look out for. So take it away, man.
Sure. So in for eltri's case, right? I think there's definitely way more pressure for Diego Cocca than there is for Anthonyhudson. We have said this on our previous two episodes. Don't forget to check them out and leave your comments if you like him. But anyways, I think that there's two ways that Diego Cocca can attack this specific game. There's the 4-2-3-1 formation and the 5-3-2 formation. These are two lineups that Diego Cocca often uses, and those are his like go-to formations. Even when he was at Atlas, when he was with Tigres, and if you go back to the most recent two games, he played with a 4-2-3-1 against Suriname and a 5-3-2 against Jamaica. So I think I had the feeling that he might be overthinking this, but these are the two formations that I anticipate to see. I
Hmm.
personally I prefer the 5-3-2-1, but I'll walk you through the lineup for each one of them, and I can give you some of my pointers as to why I see them, using either or what are the benefits of each one, right?
Sure.
So I think for both of them, regardless if it's the 4-2-3-1 or the 5-3-2, the goalkeeper has to be Acevedo. I know he's calling up Luis Angel Malagon, who has been having, three last good games. He wasn't starting with America. He started playing, I think, on the match day 8, if I'm not mistaken, or match day 12, something like that, very recently. So I don't think Luis Angel Malagon and I don't think Tonio Rodriguez are, up to the challenge and remove Acevedo for that first string spot. But I guess whatever training they have can prove me wrong. Defense, looking at the 4-2-3-1, this would include Julian Araujo as a right back, Nestor Araujo as a center back, Israel Reyes as the second center back, and then uh, the left back is going to be Jesus Gallardo. The midfield for this lineup will be two center midfielders with Luis Chavez and Eric Sanchez from Pachuca. The right wing will be manned by Piojo Alvarado, left wing by Uriel Antuna, and then the central attacking midfielder will be in the hands of Charlie Rodriguez. And the attacker, I think, it's a no brainer here. It's an easy answer. He only has two options: either Roberto de la Rosa or Henry Martin. And I think we both know who's going to be starting.
Yeah.
It has to be Henry Martin. There's no way Roberto de la Rosa can start, even though he's been playing very well this season. Henry Martin has 13 goals out of 15 match days. So he's just on fire, man. I mean, he's on track to become the top scorer for this specific tournament, and he's going to be the next Mexican to win that accolade for the last 7 years. So
Jeez.
it's a no brainer over
Do your
here.
Henry
What do
Martin
you think of this?
celebration.
Oh yeah, I'm expecting that one, dude. I
Yeah.
really
No.
hope that we get to see that.
Yeah. I'm sure we will. I agree with you, man. I think regardless of the formation, Acevedo starts, Henry Martin starts. There's a couple of that are in for sure. Julian Araujo starts, Luis Chavez starts, and yeah, I mean, I think those 4 or 5 names are pretty much straight on on the sheet.
Yeah.
Um, I'm glad we'll finally be able to. We've kind of noticed that Acevedo still hasn't moved his way up to being the number one keeper for La Seleccion's A team.
Hmm.
So he has to take his chance with these even Juego Moleros to be able to try to move his way up.
Yeah, man.
And yeah, I mean, what is there to say? The defense, it's except for probably Nestor Araujo, it's who you'd expect to play.
Yeah.
And Henry Martin, like you said, the first Mexican to probably win that accolade in years. So he's been on fire.
Years.
Definitely,
Yeah.
yeah, mandatory start there. Why don't
So
you give us your thoughts on
it,
5-3-2-1?
definitely. So the biggest changes on the 5-3-2-1 is he's going to be losing one midfielder. He's going to be earning or winning an attacker, and he's also going to be winning a what's it called, a defender. So in this case, sorry, he's losing two midfielders and winning one striker or one attacker and one defender.
Defender,
So
yeah.
the biggest change in the 5-3-2 formation would be having Victor Guzman from Monterrey playing as a third center back, which will be
Mm,
great if he gets to play. I think he should be starting ahead of Nestor Araujo because Nestor
yeah.
Araujo is not a regular starting player right now, but I
Right.
think that's not going to be the case. And the pretty much the defense stays the same with the addition of Victor Guzman. The midfield changes the most with the removal of Felix Sanchez and the removal of Piojo Alvarado. I think if he goes with the 5-3-2 formation, I'm not going to say pretty sure, but I have a strong feeling that we will see Aldo Rocha as a central defensive
Mm,
midfielder, just because he's the
okay.
only one that is nominally a CDM. Uh, Judging from the roster, he will keep Luis Chavez and he will keep Charlie Rodriguez. And as attackers, even though normally when you see a 5-3-2, you have the two strikers or two attackers at the same height of the pitch.
Hmm.
I think, given Diego Cocca's play style, I have the feeling that either he's going to be playing Alexis Vega just a little bit behind Henry Martin, and he might take advantage of Alexis Vega maybe dropping that line, coming in closer to the midfield, grabbing the ball, turning around, and either serving one of the wing backs, so either Julian Araujo or Jesus Gallardo going full pitch,
Yeah.
or trying to find a combination between Charlie Rodriguez and Henry Martin. So I think Alexis Vega will be taking that role. If that's the case, I really don't see Roberto de la Rosa or Henry Martin playing at the same time in the pitch, unless it's a situation where Mexico is losing 1-0 and it's the 90th minute and he's just going to throw bodies at it, right?
Yeah. And something we kind of didn't discuss here is since this is a game that's not even a friendly, not even an official friendly, there's obviously going to be the ability to make 10 plus changes. It's going to be one of those games where we're going to see, maybe, I don't know, depending on how serious they take this. I don't know if they want to just give everybody a chance. If at the second half we're going to see like a completely different squad. So you really don't know at this point. But yeah, man, I'm interested to see that 5-3-2-1. That sounds like
It sounds
an
like a good lineup, huh?
aggressive lineup. Yeah, for sure.
So
Um,
on your thing of maybe seeing like a second team on the second half, I think that's something that the USMNT can afford. I really
yeah,
don't see Diego Cocca taking that big of a risk, because even though this game doesn't mean anything for any of the teams, it's just an exhibition match that that the US is putting together. Like next year is not even going to be against Mexico; it's going to be against someone else. Um, it's a high
right.
risk game for Diego Cocca. Like he cannot
Yeah,
afford to lose this one, so I don't see him making a lot of changes um, on from the first half to the second half.
yeah, he's in it to win it for sure. While Anthony Hudson's probably in it to maybe see and experiment with rosters and formations.
He's enjoying the ride.
He is, man. He in for the ride. So what are some of the key points and key players to look out for, man?
So definitely, if Victor Guzman gets to play as a starter or just subbing, I think this is great. He is a very strong prospect for ligamx. He definitely has European future within the next within the next few years, or even like a couple of years. I anticipate him moving to European football in the next 2 years. Um, he's only 20 years old. He's been playing great alongside Hector Moreno in Monterrey. I think if he gets to start and if he has a great performance during this game, regardless if Mexico loses or wins, this is going to be monumental not only for him but for
Hmm.
also la selección mexicana, because you're going to be finding a good third center back in the event that either Israel Reyes, I mean, one of the three potential starters, right? Either
Yeah.
Johan Vasquez or Cachorro Montes have a string of bad games or your poor performance, poor form, you can definitely count on him, and he will be ready for the challenge. So I think Victor Guzman is one of those things that it's one of those players to watch if he starts or even if he subs. Um, the other player that, of course, we have to be on the lookout is for Henry Martin. As I said, this man is on fire. Yesterday, he had an outstanding game against Cruz Azul. He gave an assist and he also scored a goal. So this man is not tired of proving himself out there. He's ready to put up a good fight, and I'm excited to see him against Zimmerman and Aaron Long.
Yeah, that'll be a good contest there. You got Henry Martin, who's really physical, who's really good at holding up the
Mm-hmm.
play, versus two slower defenders, but two defenders that are do well at what they're supposed to do, defend.
Exactly.
So it'll be nice to see that matchup and see how Julian Araujo and the Jesus Gallardo are able to kind of take advantage of those slower center backs. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, what else, man?
So another couple of things that I think we should be paying attention to is definitely Carlos Acevedo's performance on this game. I think it's a great challenge. He he played against Suriname, which I don't think it's a big that big of a challenge, anyways. For the bigger challenge, who that was Jamaica, Memochoa was there. I think this is
Right.
the first time or the first trial he's going to have to prove that he at least deserves to have that second string spot. As I said, he has Luis Angel Malagon behind him, and then maybe the likes of David Ochoa, Alan Padilla, and even Toño Rodriguez, which I think Toño Rodriguez is like the longest shot of all of them. To being honest with you,
Yeah,
but I think this is a good chance for him to just tell Diego Cocca and Doña Fede and the entire eltri fan base that he's ready to take that spot. He ready to claim that the throne or of that position. And so let's see. I mean, I'm excited. He definitely is gonna have good opposition in the likes of Brandon Vasquez, of Jordan Morris, and El Caballo Cabo. All of them have great long distance and good inbox reactions.
yeah,
So we'll see. It's gonna be a good challenge, definitely.
yeah. Cool, man. Um,
And
you know,
then I guess lastly, the last thing I want to make sure that all the PPG fan base out there pays attention to during the game is El Títere Coca's demeanor. I want you can definitely tell that he's feeling the heat, right? He's feeling
yeah,
the pressure building up, even though he had a decent start of his tenure as as El Tri's coach. So I have the feeling that this is going to be the first time that we see him frustrated and flustered if things don't go his way. It's going to be a good challenge for him to prove that he has the tempo and he has the I guess the mental strength to put up with a match that, even though it doesn't mean anything, has has great repercussions in how the national media and the national fan is going to look at you for the next few games. Because if you lose this one, man, he's going to be swimming against the current during that Nations League game, and is at the edge or at the verge of showing up to that match for Nations League in Las Vegas,
hmm
and knowing that most likely the majority of the fans are going to be Mexican, they're not going to be rooting for him. They're going to be waiting for the team to have a mistake, to play bad, to just go all out and boo him.
I don't know. I This might be one of the few points where we disagree on something here. I don't think the Mexican American fan in the U.S. boos la selección mexicana. That's something that's seen in Mexico. The Mexico fans in Mexico, the Mexican nationals, are more critical than the Mexican fans, who's for the most part, not everybody, but it's just happy to be there at the game and supporting eltri. Um, Again, that's not everybody. We're critical of the La Selección Mexicana, and we'd boo them if they're playing like crap. But you know, I've been to plenty of Mexico games here in the states, and so have you. And it's definitely a different atmosphere. I don't know. I just feel like it's more. He's lucky to be playing that game in Las Vegas instead of playing it in Mexico, where he'd be feeling the heat like
Yeah,
crazy.
I would.
But
I agree on that specific point. Definitely, it's just
uh,
better for him that Mexico likes to play in the U.S. rather than in Mexico. Actually,
yeah, but I do agree that you know the heat's going to be on him if he loses this. Counterpoint: if he wins this, do you think that takes off the heat a little bit off him, or you know it's still going to come down to that match in Las Vegas?
I think it gives him a it replenishes his oxygen tanks. That's pretty much what it's doing, right?
Yeah,
If he wins this one, that's the thing with this game for Mexico. It's like even though it doesn't mean anything, if he loses, it has a huge impact on his image and the way that the media is gonna treat him. Right? It's just
yeah,
gonna make things worse than what they are right now. If he wins, everyone's gonna be like, "Well, that's expected." Right? No one is expecting you to not win this game. Everyone's
yeah.
banking that you're gonna win it, and you have to win it because of the rivalry and because of what it means to the El Tri fan, right? Um, so this is a high risk, very low reward game for Diego Cocca, specifically for Diego Cocca. Like El Tri, if they lose, I mean, it's just gonna be another El Tri shenanigan. That's pretty much what it's gonna be. But for Diego Cocca, it's just gonna get hotter, man. There's no way out of
Yeah.
him. There's no
So
way out for him. Sorry.
yeah, it's one of those games where if he wins, he won't get any accolades. He'll just be like, "Oh, nice, you won that game.
Yeah,
That
you
didn't mean
want,
anything."
and they're probably gonna critique him anyways, right?
Yeah,
If he
you
wins,
should
and
have
if
won 4-0.
even if it's like exactly,
Yeah,
even if it's a convincing win, they're gonna still criticize him and say like, "Well, he didn't call up this player, or if he would have, played with this different formation, or he should have finished the game at the 50th minute." I don't know. So he cannot. He won't get a break, even if he wins.
if he wins, they'll even say, Estados Unidos, USA didn't bring their, you know, he won't do this against their
Exactly.
main lineup, you know, blah blah blah. Poor guy
They'll
can't
find
catch a
something.
break.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know, dude.
Well, man, I mean, it's gonna be it's gonna be crazy to see what happens from that game. What the repercussions are for Mexico specifically, because USA, like we said, they're kind of chilling right now, especially Anthony Hudson. The real
Yeah.
game is in the summer in Las Vegas. Um, Adrian,
Mhm.
before we take off, man, what are your score predictions for this game?
I personally think it's gonna be a close game. That doesn't mean that it's gonna be a low goal game. I think it's gonna be a high scoring game. I see like a 3-2 happening, um, and I think the U.S. is gonna take it, dude. I don't think Mexico will take it. I think um, Mexico will get
Wow,
very eager on attacking, and it's gonna be a tight game. I don't see Mexico playing bad, but I think the U.S. will capitalize on those options that they will have and just make it happen. I don't even though Henry Martin is in better form than any of the uh, MLS strikers or attacking players.
hmm,
Um, I just don't see him getting that many good balls inside the box or good combination of plays for him to be in the spot to just punt the ball or take the final shot for the goal. So I feel it's going to be like
interesting.
a 3-2 for the USMNT.
Wow, interesting, man. Big call there. I'm thinking a 2-2 draw, and then Mexico takes it in penalties. That's what I'm thinking.
Damn. Hey, do we
I
know if it's going to be like 120-minute if they tie or if they go directly
I
to penalty
I
game
think it
to
goes
penalty
straight
shoot
to
shootout?
penalties. I
Gotcha.
think. Don't quote me on that, but I think just because of the nature of this game, how it's a friendly, not even official friendly. I think that's kind of what they're doing now. for that. Um, I just don't think Mexico can afford to. The Elko can afford to lose. Not that that means that they have to win, but like I mean they have to win obviously, but that doesn't guarantee they'll win. Sorry, but I just think that they'll be playing with so much pressure, and they'll be playing with that. Hey man, we can't lose. We have to win this match. That they'll somehow pull it off. Um, it'll be high scoring 2-2 close game, but I just feel like if it comes down to penalties, Mexico has the better penalty takers, and I just think it'll come down to that.
Look, you're going with a team that historically speaking has a very bad record of winning games at a penalty shootout.
Yeah.
I just want to put that out there.
In official matches, this is not an this is not an
all
official match.
right, all right, all right, all right. You
So
got me there.
so we'll see. I mean, as long as they don't do a David Beckham, send it to the moon. Um, But yeah, Adrian, always fun picking your brain, brother. Before we take off, man, where can our listeners find us, dude?
Sure, dude. If you want to see our pretty faces, they can find us on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and turn on the notifications. If you're just okay listening to our beautiful voices, you can find us on Apple Podcast, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast on. And lastly, but not least, you can also find us on Instagram and Twitter at Puro Pinche Gol. We post stuff every now and then.
Yeah, for sure. Follow us on your preferred social media platform, and make sure you guys comment on below who you guys have winning this match, where you guys watching from, what city are you in, Mexico or the U.S. And who are y'all's favorite call ups for each team. We love reading y'all's comments and hearing back from you guys, and kind of conversing with you guys for sure. So make sure, like Adrian said, hit subscribe. So if y'all want to hear more from Puro Pinche Gol. Um, Adrian, so next time we talk, man, we'll be making the 6 things we learned videos. You guys make sure y'all follow us for those. Those get really interesting and really fun to make. Adrian, been a pleasure, man. See you in the next one, brother.
As usual, man, take it easy.
See ya.